So when we have board meetings, it's a weekend event, and we get to go to some very exciting places like Death Valley. Everybody who was saying, "Oh, it's so beautiful here," I kept thinking, "Oh my God!" But I lived in Nevada for many years, so I don't think deserts are very pretty. But anyway, last one, Death Valley. Next one's Monterey. That's better.
Oh, much better.
Yeah, but yeah. So anyway, but they're always on Sundays, and we can get me started on that. But we follow Brown Act, or all boards follow Brown Act in the public sector, which is a good thing. So Brown Act is really about face-to-face, right? We don't have secrets. We shouldn't have secrets. There are some things that we don't do in the open, in closed session, but not very many things. So we need to make sure our meetings are open to the public. There are strict rules on when people can talk and the order, and things have to be agendized, but we want to do them in the public so other people know what's going on. And so the Brown Act really helps us make sure that that's what's going on. There are times that we can have multiple board members at something when it's not considered an actual agendized open meeting. And these are the times. So sometimes, if there's multiple board members that want to go to a community meeting or a conference and business isn't going to be discussed and will not be discussed, because we don't pretend to go to a community meeting and then go have a side conversation about something we're not supposed to. That will end up being a big issue, and it should. But these are the times we can go to things that aren't agendized if we truly aren't doing business. So we have to be on the honor system, right? I mean, I don't know that it happens as much in ASB, but in governing boards of districts and community colleges, you'll see often they get caught doing business when it wasn't agendized, it wasn't right. So just make sure if you are going to be getting together, more of you, if there's going to be a quorum of you at something, it's because of this, if it's not an actual agendized meeting.
What is your definition of doing business? If you're just discussing something with a friend?
So a friend that's also in Ascom.
Yeah.
So the minute you two start discussing something, that's Ascom business. And then one of you talks to somebody else, also in Ascom, they're now doing business. So it's really best, because it's really hard if we're both in Ascom and we have a discussion, you're probably going to want to talk to it about somebody else, and we've started doing business then. So as hard as it is, you need to keep Ascom out of the personal, which is hard. It's, to be an officer is not as easy as everybody thinks it is. It's a lot of work, and then there's all these rules that if you start breaking them, even I end up being a fiscal advisor a lot in educational entities, and I'll start seeing emails where the board starts answering and doing things on email, but it's not all the board members, and it wasn't agendized right away. We have to stop it, right? That's a problem, and then we have to talk about in the board meeting about this conversation that shouldn't have happened or did, and just try to keep your personal and Ascom separate. So I would assume that any meeting that you're having has to follow the Brown Act. Don't start thinking, well, maybe this fits under this, or maybe this fits. Just be safe, right? Because if you make a mistake and it gets found, it's a really big deal. And it undoes what you did, and it makes it seem like you don't know what you're doing, and just don't go there. Just really make sure you're following the Brown Act. I don't want any of you to be in Brown Act jail. It would be very bad. It's like Edgar jail. Okay. So also with the Brown Act, remember we have to let the public participate. You have to have an agenda. There's a time when people can talk and can't talk. There has to be a time that people can talk even about things that aren't on the agenda. There's times for all of that, but there's an order to that as well. So, and we have a handout and things on that for you to look at for that. And that's why we get into Robert's Rules of Orders, which also is part of your Constitution. I think Robert's Rules, when I looked, it talks about that.
So it refers to it.
Yeah, so it refers to it, which again, kind of like the Brown Act, right? But it means you have to follow it. So if you want to put more of that in there, you can. Again, be careful of putting too much in your Constitution. I would do like appendices to your Constitution, but that's me, because I think if you put too much guts into your Constitution, you start to lose track of the other